So I'm discussion director. What do you think happened to Brom, and do you think it has anything to do with Saphiria's egg and the Men in the Black Cloak? Remember at the end of the chapter, he was all bloody.
Yeah, he had a gash on his hand and his forehead.
Yeah, what do you think is happened in the town?
No, Gara was also burned, but Brom, when Saphira let them down and Aragon started carrying Garrow into Carver Hall, Brom met them there and he had a gash on his head and his
He
hand.
probably tried to
Kill
the guys.
Yeah, but then he got...
And then they like...
Do you think the Men in the Black Cloaks work for the king, and how can you infer that?
Yeah, because they were looking for Aragon and the egg, I think.
Yeah. How would the king know about Aragon? That's what I'm
Probably because everybody was spreading the word. Like, Sloan. Remember Sloan? Yeah. The guy.
Sloan is just I don't like him.
Yeah.
I don't like him.
Why not?
He's
He
evil.
gave away Aragon.
Yeah.
And
And
Aragon
then
wouldn't
also
hate him.
Gem, which we at first we didn't
Sloan
know
was
he
gone.
had.
But it's not.
Yeah. We thought it was just a magical stone.
Why do you think they are looking for the eggs?
Probably because Galbatorix went into it and he doesn't. Remember in the story when they.
Yeah,
He does, but remember when he said he
all the
killed
dragons.
all the dragons that decided not to be with him?
But like, what do you think he wants to do with all these dragons that he's trying to collect?
Just...
He's not collecting
He
them.
might want
he's
to,
killing
like, make his own riders.
Why is he
them.
killing them?
No, Lucky he already has 12. He has 12 of the old riders with
I
him.
don't think those are all alive. No, because they're probably...
No, I think they
But he
like
probably
4 of
wants
them dead.
more. He probably wants more. Fourth one. He probably wants,
Because
like,
then he can take over
a lot.
lot.
Well,
Do you think Saphira is dangerous and can cause harm? If you do,
Yes.
how and why?
well,
Like she seems so friendly, and like she's this talking dragon, but like,
Well, she doesn't have to speak
yeah, like why do you think? Do you think it's dangerous?
yeah, because she can be. I mean, if Aragon wants her to, like...
If provoked or attacked,
Yeah.
she could go on a rampage, set the
Like, I don't think she would kill Aragon. Like, I don't think she wouldn't attack anybody. She wouldn't just randomly attack people, but she'd just, like, attack people. Yeah, I'm talking about when he started flying.
Oh, okay.
Do you mind reading it, Lucky?
Aragon yelled as the ground dropped away from him, and they rose above the trees. Turbulence buffeted him, snatching the breath out of his mouth. Saphira ignored his terror and banked toward the spine. Underneath, he glimpsed the farm and the Anora River. His stomach convulsed. He tightened his arms around Saphira's neck and concentrated on the scales in front of his nose, trying not to vomit as he continued to climb.
Wow. It's descriptive, huh?
Alright, I'll go next. My first connection is when Aragon found out that when he was flying Saphira's back, that his scales were so hard they had rubbed all the skin off his knees. My connection to that is when I was riding my scooter down a hill, I hit a bump and flew both the knees almost in the air. And my second connection was when Aragon found Garrow badly hurt and burned. That reminds me of when I found my friend, Shane. He got a 2nd-degree burn from soup.
Oh my god, why do you burn soup at him?
I
That was
also
his
have
mom.
a question about Garrow. Why do you think he was burned? Like, why do you think?
Well, I mean,
Well,
the house exploded, so I think it probably was
And
like...
on fire.
So
It
he
was
probably-
made out of wood, so
They
it
probably
probably
used, like,
cut
some magic
sparks.
stuff. Probably like...
And one of the metal beat.
We're playing around with this idea of morals. Writing stories that have morals. And you know what I love? Lizzie the other day when we were talking about that, she said, that's like fables. I know that fables are stories that are famous for having morals. What's another way to describe a moral? Or how can you define moral? Tyler?
Well, you could define a moral like if it
has a special meaning to the story,
Yeah.
and it's like a message to people in the story.
Very good. So there's a special meaning to the story, a message. Can we even get more specific? Well, Tyler just explained it to you a little bit. A special meaning or a message that's written in a story. Could you help describe it a little more, Ezra, for Sean?
A moral is kind of like the lesson that the story teaches you.
Yes.
Excellent.
Or
So
that's
the
what it is
lesson-
in fable. It can like sum up things.
Yeah. Can any of you think of a fable or a story that you've read that had a special lesson? Want to call the next person, Ezra?
The fox and the crow.
And what's the moral of that story?
I forget what it was, but I know it had something to do with like cheese.
Cheese.
cheese. They were fighting over a piece of cheese.
So what's the overall lesson though? So people were fighting over something. So there has to be not the specific scenario in the book, but what's the major lesson learned there? Can you think about that? They were fighting over cheese. Perhaps it was to not starve? I don't know about that.
To share.
Ah, to share.
Yeah.
To always share.
I
So
bet
that
the fox eats the cheese. It eats the crow and then eats the cheese.
So usually the moral is
I
a
think I
little
remember
deeper than the surface level. You have to, the author's not going to come right out and tell you all the time what the lesson is. You really have to think about it. What lesson could I learn from this story, right? Lily, want to call on somebody else to share a moral that they've learned from the book?
I just forgot it.
The Lion and the Mouse, kind of.
And what's the moral of that story?
Probably not. Never doubt someone. Well, don't think if they're small, then they can't help you out a lot.
What's another way to say that? Yeah.
Don't judge someone by the cover.
Yeah, don't judge a book by its cover. Good one.
Don't.
Did it come back, Siege? No? You let me know when it comes back, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, you want to call on the next person?
The hare and the tortoise and the hare. Slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady wins the race. So you guys have a lot of these stored up in your memory. And Mia, you have one more?
The fox and the juicy grapes. The grapes were too high up and he wanted to get them. But he couldn't have them. I forget the moral of it.
What's the moral of that story?
Eventually get the grapes and then he was sour.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were sour.
Oh no, he didn't get them, but then he thought they were gonna be. He was like, those grapes are probably sour anyway.
Yeah.
Oh. So he gave up?
Yeah.
Never give up.
Oh, is never give up the moral? That's a good. So the point that I want to tell you that since we're going to be writing short stories or picture books, when there's a moral to the story can be enjoyed by all ages, right? Adults can learn from picture books that have morals, right? I bring you guys picture books and you're in 4th grade going on 5th grade, but you still enjoy them, particularly when they have a lesson that you can learn from them, right? I bring them in to help teach us a lesson, to really get you thinking about how this story can apply to your life. That's what a moral does. It really transcends time. It really makes it so that it's not just for a specific age group. Picture books become not only interesting to younger kids in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, but also to young adults, right? Or adolescents like you guys. It's a really fun, lighthearted book, but it has a moral that we can all learn from, and I want us to think about what it is as we're reading through, okay? The author's not just going to come out and tell us. We have to really think about it. So it's called Nora the Mind Reader, and it's by Orit Gidali, and illustrated by Aya Gordon-Noy.
The author's name.
And I always like to read the dedications sometimes, especially when you're reading a book that has a strong moral or a lesson that can be learned. And this one says, to Noni, who taught me the most important things of all. So whatever this lesson is, I bet you Noni. Who do you think Noni is?
Somebody.
Some people call Noni their grandmother Noni. So maybe it's her grandmother. So we'll see. CJ, did you remember your moral?
No, I think. No. but I think the author's name sounds Italian.
I think so too, right? Hidali, like Di Lorenzo. Okay, here we go. Hidali. It sounds like the chocolate maker. Ghirardelli or, yeah. Okay, when Nora came home from kindergarten one day, she told her mommy how a boy in her class had said to her, "Look at you. You have flamingo legs."
I've read this book.
I don't need an actor, but thank you.
That actually means he has short legs.
And even though she didn't know exactly what a flamingo was, she was insulted. Very insulted.
Wait, flamingo legs
Yes.
are the only thing is that they put up flamingo legs right there.
There's a little flamingo you can see. So her mom sat her down and gave her a great big hug. Then she went to look for something important. Very important. What did she say? Now, where is that magic wand? Here it says, "My legs are tired." But they're really thinking, "I really want some chocolate." And then this one says, "This is so boring." But really, they're thinking, "Chocolate now!" And here it says, "And drinking is good for you, right?" And then it says, "I want a can of soda too." And then here, this little boy says, "Want a bite?" And this little girl says, "Not a bit." And really, in her mind, she's thinking, "Yeah, yeah." And this crocodile says, "You have nice legs." And then it's thinking, "Such yummy drumsticks." You're talking to the, what? Flamingo. I knew you guys would like this book.
I was thinking of believing yourself for the moral, but I'm not really sure if that would work out, right? So,
Could you expand on that idea a little bit?
Yeah,
Believe in yourself when?
I guess at a rough time or something, or see there's a test coming up and you didn't think you would pass it, I guess. I don't know.
Or maybe it could be a character and everybody else is telling her that she can't do it, and then she tries and she can do it.
Yeah. And that's also weaving in a little bit of sometimes your friends can support you and lift you up and help you achieve things that you never thought you could, right? Can help you believe in yourself. The good friends really do that for you, right? Good girls, keep it up, and then I'll come back and check in with you soon. Max, so what do we have for the moral of your story? What are you thinking so far?
The moral of the story is to learn patience and good manners can take you anywhere, and get you a lot of things like friendship. Some of the characters are Toby, age 7. Some of his traits are calm, patient, smart, and easy to learn. His friend Melissa is age 7.5, energetic, patient, sometimes clumsy, and also loves to learn. Ralph, age 8, is sloppy, sometimes very impatient, rude, mean, and sometimes a bully. And so the importance of each character is Toby and Melissa are the main characters trying to teach Ralph not to be rude, mean, and sloppy and impatient so that he can make new friends because he doesn't have any.
So Toby and Melissa kind of, if they their duty, they feel like.
They feel that he's being left out of all of the games that people play, and people just avoid him.
So they kind of see beyond his attitude and the way he is, and they see that he maybe just needs help learning how to be more patient with people. And very cool. Have nice manners. That's good. Are Melissa and Ralph?
Melissa and Toby.
Are they? At first, is Ralph kind of mean to them?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of getting mad about it, they find a way to help him.
Or like the first time they try to help him, he's like, "I don't need help. Like, away from me."
Mm-hmm. really resistant. Cool. What audience are you aiming for with this?
Kindergarten, first, second graders.
But then the moral, the lesson learned is still can be applied throughout your entire life, right? Even adults. Cool. I love those kinds of stories. You're going to illustrate. You're going to have it be a picture book. All right. I can't wait to see more. Nice work.
Is it supposed to be like this?
Okay. Can you explain? What's your exact question?
Like, not exact question, this is how the writing is supposed to be.
Yeah. Can you read me your moral?
If you don't want someone to say something mean to you, say something mean about you, don't say anything mean about you.
Treat others kind of how you want to be treated, right? That reminds me of that. Good. So then you developed characters to help tell that story. Can you tell me a little about them?
Well, Jaden, he's loving, and he likes dancing, football, and karate. And his age is 5. And then Madeline is funny, sweet, and kind. And she likes dancing, family, and sushi.
Sushi.
And then her age is 6 years old. And then Chatty, he's like kind of like the main character because he's angry. Because he says something mean. Because he says something.
So it goes back and forth.
And then Sad, and his likes is staying asleep in spring break. And age, he's 5 too. And then Janaea is the last character. And she's sad, but she likes school, games, and basketball. And her age is 4.
So can you tell me a little about what will happen with these characters to help teach that lesson about treating others the way you want to be treated if you don't want people to be What is that? Yeah, what do you think? But what do you, without even if it's not written down yet, how will you teach that lesson?
Well, like, I will put down, Jaden said something. I mean, not Jaden. Chatty said something mean about Jaden, and then Jaden said something bad, and then it hurts Chatty feeling. Then his sister bad tells him that that's why if you want to be treated equally, don't say anything mean about someone else if you don't want to say anything.
And eventually does he learn that lesson and have more meaningful friendships? Excellent. I can't wait to hear the rest of it.
So the moral of my story is that people you love only do things to benefit you, not harm you. So instead of getting mad that your mom tells you to clean your room, understand the fact that she's trying to teach you self-discipline.
That's a good one. Oh, my mom, she's always right. I used to get so, why do I have to do this? What's the point, right? But moms, they usually do right by you, right? So what characters have you developed to help tell this story?
Nia, she's the main character, and she's 10 years old and is lazy. Doesn't want to do anything, and never volunteers to do extra work. What she calls extra work is really her chores. Her interests are using her iPod and hanging out with friends, and she hates when her mom prevents her from doing that because of her chores, or when her dad prevents her from doing that because of working in his bake shop. Nina's purpose is to learn that her parents are making her do other things like working and doing chores just to learn self-discipline, because they want her to learn that she's not always going to be able to do what she wants in life. So they're doing things like teaching her lessons and like making her work more.
Budget her time, things like that. sounds interesting. So, how does she finally realize that her parents are really just trying to help her later on in life, or trying to teach her valuable lessons that she can carry on forever?
Because when she's hanging out with her friends, she's gonna realize that they're learning how to become more mature, and they're realizing that they don't really wanna like hang out at the mall anymore, and they wanna find jobs for the summer.
So maybe it's when they go to find a job, she realizes that she's actually
The only
prepared, and she's prepared. She's the only
and
one.
then when she revisits what her parents were trying to teach her all along, and she's like, I'm going to get a summer job with them.
She wound up enjoying her summer job too. It's that idea that hard work and perseverance and dedication really pays off, right? I love it. I can't wait to read it. Thank you. Explain a little bit what you've been working on in science, what you've been trying to get going.
We've been trying to get this pot of water to boil enough to create steam that circulates to get a physical model that represents a tornado.
Right.
But so we've been trying to find different ways to make the steam visible.
Mm-hmm.
And the first idea that we had was to create another window, but we found out that that didn't really do anything. It just created more light source.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, now, we've had Jason help us by telling us a little bit
Jason's a
about,
6th grader.
like what would help us to see the steam. So we decided to add white paint
Mm-hmm.
to the water, and it's working a little bit better, and we hope that.
So what happened before? There was a reaction that happened before, and everybody was a little excited. So what happened?
To get the particles of paint were stuck to the bottom. And
Okay.
Jason was trying to get them off by doing what I'm doing, which is holding the stick to the bottom of the pan.
Okay, put our pots kind of to the side. Let me get it, just in case it's too hot.
And what happens is it bubbles and bubbles more and more and more. You can see like when I'm holding it.
Okay.
And what happened was the pot started to boil over.
Oh
And it like turned into like a white foam.
Right.
Turn the smoke.
So as you turn the smoke, though, are you getting the cyclone?
We're not getting what we saw, but
Okay.
it is turning.
But something's happening. Woo! Okay,
This
okay.
is what was happening.
Okay,
That's what happened.
So maybe, what do you think the solution could be? Why is that happening? What can we do next time to make sure that it doesn't boil over once we start?
A vented lid.
A vented
Well,
lid?
we do have the top.
The fan.
We do need a fan.
So
Do
that
you
it
guys should
comes
put in
up.
more white paint?
Stick it up a little bit more. That might work.
So the fan would actually do what? So if we put, wait, I don't
It would
actually,
actually go down.
let's just hold it for a second. But if we put the fan, it would go down, right? It would blow it in. But is there a way to suck the air out?
Turn it the opposite way.
Yeah, you could turn the fan on. It would take. We would have to figure out how to get, because it would have to get all the steam from right out here and blow it up. Okay.
It's getting red.
It's bad.
Stir the steam.
Looks like a cappuccino steam maker. It's like boiling.
It does.
And what are you looking up, Jason? What are you hoping to find on your internet search?
How?
How to get the cyclone action?
We saw dry ice. That was what we think would really
Right.
help it. But we have to find some.
But do you think the white paint is making the
it's
steam
helping.
more
It's
visible?
helping.
It is, right?
So we just need to find a way to get
To circulate.
it to circulate. And,
So you guys are a step ahead of where you were yesterday, right?
Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm gonna try to find the dry ice directory to find out how much it costs and where we can get it.
Cool. What is solar energy? Why is it important to us?
Wait, can it also be like something that you know about just the sun, not just
Sure.
The sun is
a star.
The sun is a star.
The sun gives us like energy and
The sun.
The sun is really hot.
The sun's energy can be harnessed through solar power. Solar panels.
The sun is light.
If
we had solar panels on every surface, then we would get a lot of energy.
The sun is the
has a
sun.
lot of energy to give.
Cool. You're talking a lot about solar panels. So what is a solar panel then?
No,
A panel. It's a panel like it's basically like a panel type thing that absorbs the sun's rays and turns them into electricity. I don't know exactly how it works.
Does anyone think they know how it works?
I have no idea.
What do you think? Anybody?
solar panels work by they have so they're placed on something like a roof that it can sit on, and as the sun goes throughout the day, that it kind of like it's like a magnet to the sun that brings the sun in, and then the solar panel harnesses it and turns it into energy.
The ultraviolet rays of the sun.
What is an ultraviolet ray?
It's
I don't know how to describe it ultraviolet right either,
Well,
but I know
I
what it
think
is.
it's like something to do like if you get too ultraviolet, then then it gives you radioactiveness, or I don't know.
What is radioactiveness?
Kind of hotter than the average
Oven. Interesting. So that's a lot that we know. That's a lot of information so far about the sun, and we're going to continue to talk about it. And I love that idea of, well, what exactly is a solar panel? And I think, Lily, your explanation so far is really getting to something, right? Absorbing, harnessing that energy, right? Bringing it in somehow, like a magnet. I love
I can hide the light inside my bushy tail. So Cassie said that we can hide inside it. But when we got
Don't put John's batteries in
Today's scientists have many tools to tell them about the sun. They take part of the sun using powerful technology that we use because
what's the purpose of this solo?
Probably about 300,000 years.
Yeah, it's like has hydrogens all the way around.
Okay, we're gonna get. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm actually going to use these outside because I think it travels a lot further than my voice. Hopefully it'll make a sound loud enough that you'll hear out there so that I can harness you back in. I can harness the energy of my class and the sun. So why don't you come on over? I know some of you still have a little bit to read. We're going to just share a few things that we learned, some new facts, maybe some new questions that we came up with. And then we will head outside to do some temperature recording.
It was cool how they could estimate how far it was away even though it didn't go there.
What did they use to estimate it?
It was like, I forgot what it was called, but it was like some kind of childhood project.
Nobody remember? Yeah, you can look back and we can see if we can figure out what it was called. It measured the distance from the Earth. Do you want to call on somebody else while you're looking it up?
Yeah.
Make sure we're calling on boys and girls, okay?
I remember in the book that it said that the sun is a ball of heat.
What is it?
The sun is a ball of heat.
Ball of heat.
Yeah. I think it's called a radio telescope. I think. Yeah.
Cool. Want to call on someone else?
Fancy.
I like it how the storms on the sun.
It storms on the sun. What kind of storms?
Radiation storms, I think.
So interesting. Did it say anything about why it's important? Why that distance away from the Earth is so important? Did it say anything about that? It didn't?
Yeah.
What did it say, Michelle?
So that if it was like too close, then we would be too hot, and it would like probably kill a lot of us. And if we were too far, and if we were too far away, then we would be way too cold, and we would be free.
Right. So that's perfect. That actually brings us to what we're going to do right now. And I know we still have a lot that we want to say, so what we'll do is we'll create a board in our classroom to kind of record all of these things that we know about the sun, these things that we're learning about the sun, and we'll talk about the questions that we still have about the sun and where we want to take this project deeper. So can you guys hold on to those?
Okay, I can see it now.
Not by breathing. Dang, I made it a whole 30.
You look three-dimensional.
It is three-dimensional. It's like, wow, you look so real. It almost like you're real.
And you're there to help each other, right? To double check. Dina, how you doing?
Can I record?
Are you guys ready for the first minute to start?
Yeah. You do it.
Make sure that your board's in your shade right now. You want to sit on the other side of it? Come on this side.
Now I move, so now it's like
So record the temperature quickly. Make sure that you're not creating a shadow over your thermometer. You're going to affect the temperature. Here we go. 2 minutes. Yep.
Oh. Now do we go?
I love how Lily just stepped away to make sure she's not affecting the temperature at all.
Wait, now do we go on the stage? No, it's only.
Nope, we're going to do full 5 minutes of the sun and see if we can get the temperature to rise.
Holding the middle. So it's lowering.
Don't hold the middle. That's kind of
Interesting.
Back up.
From the first temperature you took, why do you think that is? It was so high when we first came out.
How many minutes? 28?
Might affect your shadow there.
It was 3.
So what are you seeing?
It's at 14 now. Here, I'll put it in the sun.
All right, make your last recording.
I wonder what it is.
How does it feel? Does it feel like it's actually colder over here?
I got a good jacket. I can't feel it.
14 seconds. 5 seconds. Good. We're having a good change, right? All right, go ahead and record it. Who thinks the water will rise to 10 degrees? Raise your hand. Okay. Get it to drop all the way to 5.
At the very end, I bet we can get to 9.
I bet we can get to 3.
I think we got it to 2.
Oh.
Make sure you remember degrees.
I think your guys are
different things. All right, guys, record 8 minutes.
Okay, Aaron, 8 minutes.
Did it beep?
What was in my hand? Yeah, be on 8 minutes.
It just went up.
Did you have a chance to read the
It's not the stuff back
11 degrees.
Make sure we're taking pictures, okay?
11.
Wait, Michelle, did you rate this?
Are we still dropping?
10. Ours is at 11. I'm gonna try to get under a tree.
What did you find, Evan, that was puzzling?
That it went from 20 degrees Celsius all the way down to 11 and a half and then back up to 15.
Wow. So what do you think happened there, that first drop from 20 to 11?
That may be a wind. Well, maybe the wind was blowing at that time.
Okay.
The first minute a little bit more than the second. More than the second and third. And
So you're talking about that rise from the first minute to the second. Okay. But what about that drop from 20 degrees Celsius to 11? What was that all about?
Because we came from in here. Once we first got outside, it was 20, and then since it dropped so a lot lower, since it was colder because it was hot in here, and then cold.
So the thermometer hadn't adjusted to being outside yet.
Yes.
Good. And then you saw that it dropped, but then it went back up, and you said, well, maybe that first minute there was a gust of wind that made it a lot colder, and then the wind stopped and it warmed up. Good. Really nice. So you're taking into observation, and what he's doing, he's making that, he's giving it like a tentative explanation for what caused it, right? He's making a bit of a hypothesis. This is what I think happened. What did we notice as we went from the sunlit areas to the shady areas? What happened? It went down some. About how much? Estimate how many degrees Celsius it dropped
To about
when we went to the shady.
5.
About 5 degrees Celsius.
Another interesting thing about going to the shady place is when we were
Speak
in
up, nice.
when we were in the shady area, it mainly stayed in the same like around the same temperature. Like
Ah.
an idea for that. It was like 11 and 10, mainly 11 and 10, and so a few other
I have an idea.
And then here in the sunny area, it was more like varied, like 24, 14, 10, 11, 13.
Yeah.
Ah,
so the
that's
sunny area-
interesting.
I think it's because the sunny area was much more exposed to the wind, but if you notice, the shady area was right next to a building, so the wind couldn't blow that way.
That's very
So
interesting.
the wind carries different temperatures. You ever feel like you're walking around, you're perfectly fine, and then suddenly the wind sweeps by, and you're just like,
Yes. Any other factors that may have affected the air temperature in the sunlit spaces? What do you think?
I think parts what might have affected the sun area would even though it's sunny out, you would have to add up decrease some of the temperature because the wind factor and stuff.
Right?
Because
the wind affects it. Anything else that's really good? So the wind affects it, right? When the wind blows, it gets a little bit colder. And when we were in the shade, like Ezra said, the building was blocking a lot of that wind. What else isn't always consistent? Think about up in the sky when you're in the sunny areas. What do you think, CJ?
clouds.
Were there always clouds over the sun?
Not always.
At certain times did the sun peek through?
Yes.
So the clouds. Whereas when we're in the shade, the sun's completely covered up. So it doesn't matter if there's a if there's a cloud in front of the sun or not, right? So the temperature stayed more consistent. You guys are brilliant. Great observations. Great. So what did we notice though? I have one more question for you. So when we moved from the sun to the shade, would you say the temperature dropped rather quickly or did it take a long time?
Quickly.
Rather quickly. So what does that say about air? Does air really absorb and harness? That's that word that Lily was using yesterday. Is air really good at harnessing and absorbing the sun's energy? What do you mean sometimes? Tell me. Expand on that idea. Let's make sure we're giving our full attention to the person talking, okay? Thank you. Does anyone else want to? You don't have to. Do you want to expand on it? So what do you think? The air, does it hold on to that sun's energy or does the air temperature change very quickly?
The air temperature usually changes really quickly.
Unless what?
Unless it's sunny, and unless you stay in like a sunny spot for a few minutes or in a darker spot or if you're like maybe, or if you go from really sunny to really dark, then it's gonna, well, like shadowy, like how we were on the side of the building. You go from like back, like in the playground into the dark spot, it gets cold like immediately.
Yeah, really quickly, right? So guys, our mission is to figure out a way to trap the sun's energy, to harness it, right, Lily? We're trying to do that. We're trying to absorb the sun's energy, to use it for warmth. But we need to figure out which earth materials can help us absorb the sun's energy. What do I mean by earth materials?
Like soil, plants, maybe various minerals such as brick, coal,
Probably just dirt with
Okay, grass. So those are earth materials, okay? And so we already had a chance to measure how the temperature changes, how the air temperature changes in the shade and in the sun, going from sunlight to shade. But today, you are going to get to measure the change in temperature when we put a thermometer in earth material. See? What changes are you finding?
not very much.
No?
I'm not finding any changes at all.
You're not? What did it start at?
24 and it's still 24.
No, really?
I started
What about you?
at 27 and then it was 27 and now it's 28.
Okay. And you have the soil? It's wet soil? Do you have dry soil?
Yeah.
What did you start at?
24, then 27, then 30.
Ah, why do you think the dry soil is increasing at such a rapid rate? The temperature is increasing.
Maybe because it's like warm inside, and if the sun shines, then it'll increase.
My first one went up by 2, then my next one went up by 1, then the one I just did went up by 2.
And what material do you have?
I have the dry soil.
Great.
I have the sand, and my first one was 20, my next one was 25, my next
25 what?
My next one was 25 degrees Celsius.
Degrees Celsius. Good.
And my 10-minute was 26 Celsius, and my 15 was 28 Celsius.
Wow. So increasing pretty steadily. And what about you, CJ?
My first one was 20 degrees Celsius, then 27 degrees Celsius, then 28 degrees Celsius, then 29 degrees Celsius.
What do you think will happen next? What do you predict for your last
It's going
reading?
to be 30 degrees Celsius.
30 degrees Celsius. What about when we go in the shade? What's going to happen to those temperatures?
I think it might drop down.
Do you think that these materials will hold on to any of the sun's energy?
Yeah, maybe.
You think so? Aaron, you don't think?
I think Aaron's will.
Why? Why Aaron's?
Because it's so fogged up.
Wow, what is that? Fog there. Why doesn't yours have that?
Because mine is wet.
It's so interesting.
Oh, it's at 30 now.
I think CJ's will, because I think it'll
Mine just
like stay,
20.
like I think it'll go down less fast.
Mine just went
because
to
it has
30,
water, and the water will probably keep it, like the water will probably stay warm longer and then go down.
It'll go down a bunch. I think
It'll go down a bunch. Do you think it will drop, the temperature will drop rapidly, or will it drop slowly?
I think it'll drop at least 1 or 2 per 5 minutes, because the sand is pretty hot, and sand stays pretty hot because it's like rocks. The rock stays hot.
The rocks.
Have you ever walked on the beach when it's really hot?
So Ezra, guys, he's making a really good point, and I hope people are listening, because even though we're outside, it's still important to listen to one another. So Ezra said, have you ever walked on the beach? Even in the evening when the sun has started to go down, does the sand cool down right away, or does it stay warm from the hot day?
There's more sand. That's why they have sea next to the beach.
But there's more sand.
So you think it depends on the quantity?
Yeah, I bet it.
Together, but
Yeah, they do.
So what's happening over here? How fast is it dropping?
It dropped and then it kind of stopped.
So it's dropped and then it stopped? It's holding on to the heat? Wow. How about yours, Ryan? Is it dropping still?
No, actually it did, and it's not 17